Okay. Let's talk about addiction. Oh, addiction. Addiction. Nah, for real now. Addiction is something I've been struggling with for almost all my fucking life. I'm somewhat of a scientist myself, and I notice that I have a personality that gets me hooked to a lot of things really quickly. So naturally, as a young boy during the fucking golden age of Xbox 360, I got hooked to video games and a lot of other things, but mainly video games. Now, it wasn't a hobby, as many people say. It was a proper addiction, in my opinion, because I would just do it in order to escape reality and to fucking. It was compulsive as fuck, and I wouldn't care about what happened to my body. I would sit around for 6 hours a day just playing video games, and that's pretty bad. Now, I also got addicted to other things like social media and pornography, as many other guys are. But I'm not gonna tell you my whole life story. But I've been playing Xbox for like 12 to 14 years now, and I would believe that it would have taken me much longer to get rid of this addiction, like having a constant and active effort to get rid of it. But in reality, I just fucking stopped playing it one day and haven't looked back since. Now, if you call me a fucking hypocrite for uploading those 2 videos of Halo, fuck you, that doesn't count. I stopped one day for no fucking reason, mainly for the fact that I just found it boring to play any other fucking game, so I stopped. That's mainly the only reason why, and I also felt like I was wasting a lot of my fucking time doing it, so I stopped playing games. So there's a part of me that tells me, okay, addiction is something that's really hard to quit, but it's also something that you can do in a matter of fucking days. Like an addiction that's been burning you up or fucking you over for like 2 decades or something, you can just quit in one day if the right circumstances are met. For example, for me, gaming, it was something I've been doing for 14 years, let's say. I stopped one day, so you would have to say, how can you just stop one day when it's been building up for 14 years? And to that, I would have to say circumstance. Another example to back this claim up was a recent podcast I listened to. I watched it, but fuck it. With Knees Over Toes guy, yeah. So Ben Patrick. And he was basically talking about his addiction to pornography and how he used to watch it a lot. Like, he also said, many young guys have been watching it so fucking much, and he managed to quit it when someone told him that what he was doing was contributing to the industry. And so apparently he stopped. He understood what was said to him, and he stopped. Was it circumstance? Well, I have another theory. I think circumstance can play a role, and there are certain times when you can just fucking quit without struggling so much. But there's also some times, most of the fucking time, where you're properly addicted and there's no fucking easy way out. But my theory as to why we can quit our addictions so fast, these are mild addictions, I would say. You're not addicted to hard drugs, you're addicted to something digital. You're addicted to something that doesn't directly fuck you over, but will fuck you over if you don't stop doing it. Drugs are something different, and I don't have any experience on that, so if you're looking for advice on that, I'm not the guy. But for example, if I look back at what happened to me when I stopped just one day because I found it boring, and Ben just stopped pornography, I think there's something behind it. I believe that we can quit our addictions after having felt a great moment of awareness that would have been triggered by a huge moment of shame. Shame is and has been used to change behavior in people, especially in children, so no wonder that while you're indulging upon your addiction and for some reason or another you feel shame, you will associate that addiction to a negative feeling. So you'll be less inclined to do it in the future. This doesn't always work. For example, no fap, why is it such a big movement? Well, guys fap and then they fucking feel ashamed, but they do it again. So there's probably something behind it, and I think either the shame has to be really big, for like you have to be really ashamed of yourself, and fapping doesn't really do that. Your brain has this way of thinking that just internalizes, or not really internalizes, but finds a way to just take that criticism that you're giving it, like, oh, fapping is not good for me, and just fucks off. The brain just doesn't care. So it either has to be really big internal shame that you feel yourself, or it has to be shame cast upon you by other people. I mean, a really good example is really when we were children. My mom used to do this with me. She would say, "Oh, if you don't fucking behave, I'm gonna start screaming at you, and in public, and people will fucking realize that you're a bad kid." So I would shut the fuck up, or she would say something like, "You want me to call the fucking cops and tell them what's going on here?" And and then I would just shut the fuck up and be like, "Yeah, okay, I'll behave." But I would feel ashamed for acting the way I was, and my mom bringing up other people would make me realize that what I'm doing is wrong, and I would be like ashamed of my actions, and I would just stop doing them. But shame in and of itself makes you realize and makes you aware of what you're doing. So you have a fucking moment there where you can either accept what you're doing and see it as a thing that you have to fix, or you can just ignore it, like most of us do. So the way I see shame is, right, it's a moment for you to internalize what you're doing. And by internalizing what you're doing, you can realize that what you're doing might be wrong or might not be wrong. Now, most of us know that what we're doing is wrong, such as fapping, like fapping too much and watching porn and all of that, playing too much video games. Well, how the fuck do you say that? Watching too much YouTube, too much Instagram, whatever. So you use this moment to tell yourself that what you're doing is wrong, and you find a way to fix it. As I've said, shame doesn't always work. In my opinion, it has to be either too much internal shame that you've compounded over the years, or it's exterior shame, or shame from other people cast upon you. So you feel a lot of fucking shame just for fucking doing something, and then you realize, oh fuck, these guys are fucking criticizing me, so you feel ashamed and you stop doing it. Now, I'm not a fucking psychologist or anything, but in my opinion, that works really well. Now that I kind of told you how addictions can be stopped with shame, although not very realistic, I don't give a fuck. Purpose is to me the key to stopping any and maybe all addictions. Without purpose, we become hopeless and render ourselves useless, so we cope with our meaningless existence with substance abuse. This can either be alcohol, drugs, social media, porn, and video games, doesn't matter. You pick your poison. With purpose, we can see a brighter future, one in which we're happy, and the only real way to achieve this is through pain. The pain of quitting our bad habits, addictions. Why play video games aimlessly for hours? Maybe because you don't know what to do with yourself, and because you don't know what to do with yourself, you resort doing instant gratification activities such as watching Instagram, playing video games, blah blah blah. If, let's say, you knew that you wanted to become the best carpenter in the world, like the best, would you be spending hours playing video games? Would you be spending hours watching Instagram? Hours wasted on something that's not contributing to your goal? I would argue that no, you wouldn't be doing that. You would instead be fucking focusing on your goal, which is to become the best carpenter. So you would be doing more work, or you would be refining your skill. Now, this is bro science, so don't take this what I'm saying with a grain of salt, man. I'm no one. Maybe what I'm saying clicks with you, and you might like it or not. But addiction comes from a lack of meaning. That is what I think. There's most likely another explanation of complicated chemistry within your brain, but I believe someone indulges on something that is self-compromising because they have no purpose or they have not found it yet. Now, everyone, in my opinion, has a purpose, and it's up to you to find it. It's just that we're stuck in this constant loop of overstimulation where we cannot properly understand what our brain is trying to tell us, because we're constantly feeding it information that it does not know what to do with. So that is, to me, why social media is robbing our meaning. It's robbing who you are, and it's bombarding your brain with so much stimulation that renders you hopeless. So you keep indulging on this mental drug. By drastically decreasing the amount of hours you spend watching TikToks and YouTube and using that time to journal, I'm sure that your head will clear up and you'll become yourself again, instead of a docile version of yourself. That happened to me. I used to watch a lot of YouTube, like too much. I still watch a lot, but even though I've tried to stop, but by journaling, bro, you kind of give your fucking brain some time to breathe. Now, you don't necessarily need to journal and write down shit. It's good to do it, but if you can just give yourself some time away from social media and like these fucking things that cloud your brain, anything works, man. Like going to the gym, fucking going for walks, long walks without music or podcasts, just listening to nature. Anything that clears your head up works, man. If it works for you, then good. Now, am I being ignorant by not understanding addiction properly? Yes. Am I being ignorant by just giving you a simple answer? Yes. But I think that who I'm talking to I don't think I'm talking to some fucking junkie who's injecting themselves with heroin every day. I think I'm talking to a fucking kid version of myself who spent a lot of fucking time watching YouTube. So if you do spend a lot of time watching YouTube, I would recommend you to stop watching so much. Maybe spend some more time in nature, man. Like, there's nothing important that you're doing here in YouTube. Nothing. If you're just watching videos, you're not doing anything important. You see, I have this tendency to speed up the things that I need to be doing. So, for example, I go to the gym, and instead of spending 2 hours there, I would spend 1 hour and a half. So I wouldn't do every single exercise, and I wouldn't have the best recovery or time to rest between sets, but I speed it up so I can come back home faster to watch more YouTube. So it doesn't fucking make sense. The one activity that is helping me improve is the gym, but I'm speeding that up. I'm spending less time in the gym when I could be spending more time in the gym. Now, does that mean I'm going to make better gains or more gains? No. But it takes away from time I could be spending using YouTube, which is good. So sometimes I see going for walks as a bad thing or as a waste of time, when in reality I'm wasting time watching YouTube. So it's not really a waste of time. In that walk, maybe I encounter someone, or I do something, or I think about something, and that could be a good thing. It's certainly better than sitting in your fucking room watching YouTube all day. So the main point of the video, man, is to just reduce the time you spend on social media. It really brings nothing good to you. Maybe some motivation and inspiration, but if you don't act upon that drive that you have, you'll never get anywhere. How do you think fucking guys back then and back in the fucking 1800s used to do shit? And they didn't have YouTube, they didn't have Instagram, they didn't have anything, they didn't have Pornhub. They had to spend time in nature, and that's how you encounter the best ideas within your brain. By being outside, by doing something else, by allowing your mind to wander in a productive way. Because if you're in school and your mind wanders, that's not productive. But if you're walking just in nature and your mind starts to wander, maybe you think about something cool. So anyway, believe in your sorry ass so you can have a fine ass in the future.